Okay, I have to start this over because I had a cat on my lap in a text message. So I'm going to recap the beginning part of the first thing, and I'm going to move on to the other thing. The first thing is that, like Unirock talks about zombies. He's mentioned a few people and calls them zombies, and it's because you can get them to interact reasonably for a brief period of time on a couple of subjects, but there's certain things that they just get triggered at, that they just go into mindless mode. It's zombification, right? As a mind-controlled person, that's what zombie means. It's not undead, brain-eating. That's not a zombie. That's a lich. Zombies are chemically or hypnotically mind-controlled people. So the thing is, there are some people that cannot be hypnotized. There are some people that can be hypnotized, but have some exertion of will over what they can and can't be hypnotized about. And there are some people which cannot help but be taken every single time by any of the slightest form of hypnosis. So let's talk about that last group of people, since the first group of people are free-willed and self-aware and thinking, right? They cannot be tricked. Then there are the people who it's possible to trick, but they'll come out of it pretty quick, or, whatever. It's a spectrum. It's not an even, distribution. It's a spectrum. It goes from one end to the other. And as we move along into more and more gullible, we get into the point where if there's a bell curve, we're talking about the lower 30%, lower third. The lower third of that bell curve, I believe, just exists to keep the others higher up, because I think if you got rid of them, probably your new lower 30% would become stupid. Nature abhors a vacuum, it seems, and there's lots of instances that you can find in the consciousness situations that people behave in somewhat osmotic and quantum senses. Their behaviors make them seem to be some sort of a particle on that level, which is really tricky to get the average folk to understand, because it makes total sense to me, people as particles, right? Because you have to understand what constitutes a particle. I'm not going to get into that. So anyways, this bottom third are not zombies. They're non-player characters. They simply exist to fill out the curve. There is nothing useful about them. Intelligent people can scoop horse shit. Intelligent people can pick up the garbage. Intelligent people can do delivery service. That's what I do. Intelligent people are capable of doing all the jobs. The thing is that the jobs that the stupid people do that we intelligent folk wouldn't want to do can be replaced with robots. And I know that's a slippery slope and is dangerous and whatever, but what I'm getting at is that we really don't need the non-player characters. They're allowed to vote. They're allowed to withdraw from, social services. They're basically allowed to waste all of our resources for those of us that are attempting to do right, or attempting to better ourselves, or see what is going on and realize the problem. What we've realized is that the unfortunately large number of non-player characters, zombified idiots, and completely gullible people is unacceptable, and they are the problem. It's them. When those people go to the polls, they vote for the wrong things. They get told what to vote for by the media or by their controlled opposition psyops, and then they vote for some bullshit. Nothing ever changes. So the only way for things to change is for us to literally get rid of those people. Talking final fucking solution of stupid. It's no joke there. It's no joke there. I would love to see that day come. Love to see that day come. I am tired of stupid people and their stupid shit, and expecting me to have sympathy when they fuck themselves over for their dumb fuckery. So that's my first part. Kill stupid. Second part is, voting's not going to fix this. Speaking of kill stupid. One way you can tell if a person is an NPC or some sort of a zombified human is if they keep going on about voting. And they keep telling you that you need to vote in the next election and it's important to vote. And they'll tell you that there's a side you should vote for to help fix this. I had somebody tell me that voting is my civic duty. I understand this, man. I went to high school. I paid attention in classes. Civic duty, I get it. But the thing is, what's your civic duty if your duty is to continue performing the pantomime of the illusion of choice? What's the point? What is the point? So we would have to establish and guarantee that the primary and caucus systems are fair. Right now they're not. They're just not. And nobody's fixed anything, right? We would have to establish the political parties are not screwing around the people. We would have to establish and guarantee that more than just those two political parties are given a fair shake, which, I'm sorry guys, Jill Stein technically probably won the last election. If there was to be an actual literal vote-by-vote recount, I think you're going to find more people voted for her than voted for either of the other two. That's how the system works. Is it the person that gets the most votes? Now remember what happened to Sanders, right? He got the most votes, but Hillary got the nomination, right? So it would not surprise me in the slightest to find out that Jill Stein won. So the thing is how to tell if somebody is one of these NPCs is that if you explain to them that we live in an inverted totalitarian oligarchy, that corporations and the media are basically calling the shots, that, you know, they've got the president and all of the government held hostage to the court of public opinion, as it would seem, and then these people are the ones you're supposed to trust to tell you what is true and what is not true, who you should vote for, etc., right? That is a textbook example of inverted totalitarian oligarchy in play. If you're living in an inverted totalitarian oligarchy, you don't have choice. You have the choices you are given to choose from, and it's a limited choice, which means there is no choice. You are selecting, but you're not making a choice. You should be able to choose to opt out. So the way you can tell is if you make any of these points and they say, no, but my election, but my rights, but my votes, my duty, then you know that that person is brainwashed. And if you can demonstrate to them, you know, the truth of your statement and they still can't get it, then you should be allowed to kill them. So anyways, I'm going to wrap it up. This is a lot shorter than the last one. You get on my lap and you're getting punched. I don't want to have to do that. It's hard enough to try and make a video. So anyways, I would never punch her. She's pretty kitty. Yeah, so I'm gonna wrap it up. The gist of it is that voting is not going to fix the situation. And as I ended up in that particular conversation informing that person, I said you need to really familiarize yourself with what is and what constitutes inverted totalitarian oligarchy, because that is what we're living under. That is what is ruling pretty much our country, possibly our world. And it's some bizarre shit. Some really bizarre shit. You stay the fuck down. You stay down. So anyways, what I had ended up saying was that if you familiarize yourself with what inverted totalitarianism is, you realize that there is no choice. But if you want to talk about duty, the duty to vote is not spelled out in the Constitution. It is implied. Something that is a little more spelled out, although still implied, is another duty. Excuse me. And that duty of which I speak is the duty of every American to keep and bear arms. Second Amendment. The reason I say this is that the only thing that is going to fix this situation is our Second Amendment duty to preserve America against tyranny. The definition of tyranny is any system of government that has double standards. Any system of government where the leaders get more or different rights than the followers. Any system of government where untruth is promoted on an official basis for the purpose of controlling people. This is the definition of tyranny. And the Constitution says there is only one thing to do with tyranny. Check your Second Amendment. So when people say you have a duty to vote, you say you also have a Second Amendment duty to remove tyranny from your government. And if they can't buy it, they can't dig it, they can't whatever else, then they're NPCs, and you have a sacred duty to remove them as well. So here's 10 minutes.